evening, everyone. Tonight we'll start with a council informational. It's being presented by our Recreation Department. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't want to take up any of Cheryl's time because she has a fabulous presentation and a lot of information for you tonight. She's going to do an overview of the accomplishments that we have achieved at the Rec since she's been here. She's reached her one-year anniversary point, and she has a lot of new plans for the future. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Cheryl.
Hi, thank you. Is this working? Yes. Okay. So, thank you for having me. So tonight I wanted to talk to you about the Recreation Department here in Norwich and redefining kind of some old thoughts about recreation in the field as we go through this. So what is our mission? Provide recreation opportunities and facilities that will promote health and wellness and enrich the quality of life of Norwich residents. And then something you can't always write down, but rec departments are the heart and soul of a community. Every community has a pulse, a feel to it. So that usually stems from a strong recreation department and all the activities and programming that we bring. Vision to provide exceptional facilities, programs, and services that will be enjoyed by all residents. And to offer programs and events that will bring people to Norwich to use the facilities and programs that may not otherwise visit Norwich, thus making an economic impact on the city. And when I read that vision coming here, that is exactly what I think a recreation department can do. So I'm going to talk a lot tonight about the economic impact that a rec department can have on a community. So other things that we do, we administer a wide variety of programs and services for all ages and interests, from birth to death. So we even have some prenatal programs that we're looking into offering. So instructional programs, you'll see in the guide I handed out to all of you. That's the winter program guide. We had a summer guide, a fall guide, and now the winter guide is up. There's over 45 programs in each guide. So different programs and sports are offered. Summer day camp this summer. We had a great day camp. Special events, we ran a trunk or treat event this fall. We have 2 new programs in that winter guide that just went out, an Easter egg program and a spring cleanup and more. We oversee and schedule, we support and schedule all the youth sport groups in town, along with the adult sport groups and different tournament groups that want to use the facilities. We operate Mohegan Park Beach. We started some half-day and school day out programs, working with the Board of Ed, and some after-school programs to serve children that the school necessarily can't, not part of the school day, after the school around those half days. Road races, we participated, fun runs, and then field trips. Staffing, those are our staffing levels. Myself as the rec director, I have a program coordinator, Robert Kilpatrick. We are vacant for a receptionist, administrative assistant. I have 1 facility maintainer supervisor, 2 facility maintainer level 1 and 2, and we have a vacant facility maintainer position in the department. Just a little bit about myself, 23 years in the field, and I've worked at 3 other municipalities and 2 other universities, all working in recreation and athletics. So I think that gives me some decent experience in this field. I have an MBA degree, a master's in sport and rec management, and then I hold different certifications in the field. The CPRP is the highest level certification you can get in our field. And I sit on 2 statewide boards for recreation and the state of recreation and things coming down from the national level and on legislative committees with those associations. So what is the economic value of Parks and Rec, and what can we do for a community? So kind of shifting that mindset that we need to be subsidized, we cost a lot of money, but the opposite is actually the reality. We drive in people to a community. It affects tax rates. Health of a community is impacted by the Parks and Rec and what they can offer. Crime rates, positive park and rec programs, kids playing sports or not out on Friday nights, getting in trouble. And crime costs the community dollars. Property values of homes that are near nice parks, nice sports facilities, nice golf courses, those value of properties increase. They're higher, which brings in a better tax base to the community. Sports teams, and tournaments. A lot of teams come in to the community currently to run adult sport league tournaments and youth. Those families might stay for the weekend, getting hotels, eating at restaurants, buying gas, so money is spent into the community. People love to live near nice parks. So living in a community with a good quality of life that help attract businesses and residents, those residents become a potential pool of employees and pay taxes. The economy improves and everyone benefits. Conversely, if you don't invest in the quality of life, less people want to live in that community, businesses suffer, and taxes go up since fewer people are paying them. So basic economics here and for the role of recreation. This is just a slide in your packet for you to see the cycle of how funding comes in and goes out and can affect the economy in a community. I just was recently at a training, and this was Americans' local, regional, public parks and agencies generated nearly $140 billion in economic activity and supported almost 1 million jobs in 2013. That was all through recreation and park programs and facilities, so nationwide. So there is the economic growth there. Another slide on the economic impact. If you're looking over to this, where the pointer is, the economy. So you have parks here in the middle. How does it affect the economy? Economic development, land value goes up, more tourism. Tourists come into your community for the different parks and programs. And then on the society level, parks impact that, recreation and play, education, community safety. So stronger park programs, more safer community can be. So just a few highlights there. So what else draws people into a community? So typical local government amenities draw people in. Unique natural features. So what do we have here in Norwich? We have beaches, we have waterfront, we have great arts and culture, we have historical properties, tournaments and facilities, which I'd like to bring more in. So these type of things are known to bring people into a community. Okay, so what opportunities are here in Norwich for economic development? I probably have 2 pages of lists, but I'm going to highlight a few for you tonight for the brevity of this presentation. So I've been approached by adult softball groups, USSSA. They're a National Softball Association men's softball. They've contacted me to bring in large national tournaments where teams travel from the Midwest. We did a program this spring, and we let them rent our fields at Ouellette for a few weekends. They brought in hundreds of people. They've contacted me this fall. They loved our facility. They want to bring more teams and tournaments in. So again, those families come in, they stay in hotels, they buy food, they pay my fee to rent the field. So direct and indirect impacts. Youth softball and baseball tournaments. I have a slide later on youth sports. Youth sports is booming right now. The travel teams, the AAUs, the more competitive teams, and these groups have been contacting me to come into Norwich to play tournaments. Some of our facilities are ready for these tournaments, some are not. So there's some work to do on the back end. BMX group has approached me. Here's a sample facility for those of you not familiar with that. A group has come to me in the last few weeks. BMX is an Olympic sport now, and there's no facilities in this side of kind of southeastern area. There's 1 in Rhode Island, there's 2 or 3 in Connecticut, not many in Mass. So people travel to Meriden, Torrington area to do BMX racing. Since it's become an Olympic sport, there's a lot of tournaments now, and it's a growing sport. It's in the top 10 list of growing sports. So they've come to me. They think Norwich would be a great place to have this because of our location to the casino, that they think we can do national and regional tournaments. So I've been talking with that group. They're a nonprofit, 501c3 that's going to do a lot of the fundraising, but they're looking for a community to plop down into. So of course, I'm keeping that conversation open. There's youth flag football and tournaments. We all know NFL, concussions, who knows what's going to happen with football. So up-and-coming sport for youth is flag football. So how can I jump on that bandwagon and start bringing in more flag football, potentially more tournaments that go with that? Anyone hear of the Water Lantern Festival? They've recently contacted me about coming to Norwich. They have 1,000 to 2,000 people that follow them, and they want to come to the Norwich Harbor or Mohegan Park or body of water. So that's a few thousand people coming into the community. They're biodegradable, and they collect them all, and there's ways to keep them so they don't scatter all over. But everyone launches a water lantern and writes a special message on it, and you have a band and some food trucks type of thing, and attracts a lot of people to your community. People follow these, kind of like Providence. They have the fire pits in the river there. It's similar to that. And then, are we using our current resources? Have we done a rooftop festival on any of the different parking garages in Norwich? So maybe we don't have the funding to make a new community center, but can we use the Norwich Transportation Center to do a concert on the top floor? You got parking right built in. Everyone can park on floors 1, 2, and 3. You do your concert on the top with a bounce house, with a band, with vendors, some food, and brings everyone into downtown Norwich. So different ways you can use our current facilities without spending money to build new facilities. And then I'd like to bring in just more programs and special events into Norwich to help with the economy. I mentioned kids' sports. It's an up-and-coming billion-dollar industry, so just some statistics that families spend more than 10% of the income on registration fees, travel, camps, and equipment. Everything from travel to private coaching to apps that organize their leagues and live stream their games. So it's a big billion-dollar market. And it's growing. So what can we do? What can I do to bring more youth sports into Norwich? This is just a list of the top 10 growing sports that are up and coming that I've been looking at, seeing what we can bring here to Norwich. And then esports is big.
Cardio tennis?
It's played on a smaller court, and it's just more, they change.
Aerobic?
It's more aerobic, more movement. It's got plenty of movement, but they're trying to boost it. Tennis's numbers are not as high as they used to be, so I think they're trying to reinvent the game. Pickleball didn't make this list, but pickleball is really hot right now, too, in a lot of communities. What's that? Oh, it is there. Okay, pickleball. Has anyone played pickleball? It's fun. Yeah, so that's, how am I doing for time? Okay, so what have we accomplished in this past year? I'm a year in, and here's some of the things that we've gotten done. Online registration, my first few weeks, we got that going. Created a marketing plan and a social media presence. So we have a Facebook page, we've updated the website, and added that online registration piece, which has helped with registrations. We partnered with the Bulletin, the Norwich Bulletin, and they're now publishing that recreation brochure that I handed out to you. 10,000 are being printed, about 5,000 or so to the schools, and then about 5,000 are going out in the newspaper, all free. I negotiated a deal with them. So that's going to really help drive our program registrations and drive the visibility up of what we offer. We begin to utilize the department software and to manage all of our operations. So I really made the software operational to handle the facility requests and all the programs and get that online registration going. We started an after-school program through a grant through Kelly. We did last spring. We reopened Mohegan Park Beach, as you probably all know, and we got that prepped, and all the staff, aquatics director hired and trained, along with all the lifeguards. We had about 6,500 people attend Mohegan Park this summer, and our highest day was the week of July 4th. One of those days, 377 people came to the park. So it was a successful summer, a lot of smiling faces. We applied for and received grant funding for our summer camp scholarship program and lunch program, a total of $15,000 we got through grant funding. We ran and restructured our day camp and restructured it a bit, hiring 15 staff, serving over 450 youth. Is this working still? Okay. Added some new sports and specialty camps, Lego, fashion camp, soccer, basketball, serving over 100 youth. And then 45 programs a season in our book is what we're looking for. What else did we accomplish? We trained staff, active shooter training, Narcan, CPR, hazmat, child-mandated reporter, which we all know is very important these days, workplace safety, sexual harassment, and lifeguard training. OSHA, we got the department in compliance with all the OSHA requirements. We partner well, I believe, Girl Scouts of America, Youth and Family, NFA. A lot of the NFA coaches help us out and run free programs or very low-cost programs, basketball, cross-country, some of the running programs in the summer, which was really nice. Lowe's called us this fall. They wanted to donate $10,000. I raised my hand first and said, come on in. And so they helped at Taffville and redid some of the benches and trees and the walkway. So we partnered with them. We do a triathlon series partnership. And then the youth sport leagues. There's 7 adult sport leagues and 8 youth sport leagues that serve children and adults through Norwich. And working with them is not just saying, okay, great, use the fields, but there's a lot of coordination on the back end of scheduling those fields, seeing who's on what field, moving fields when a field is flooded. So it ends up taking a little more time than you think. And then all the leagues and tournaments that come into the city. So for fields and facilities, this is what we accomplished there. We opened Mohegan Park Beach. We repaired 2 roofs at the Hamilton football field on the concession stand and announcer's booth. Resurfaced Jenkins tennis court. Installed some new playground slides. We assisted in the new playground at Lake Street that was gotten through a grant, so that's up and running. We did our normal maintenance of grooming and prepping and seeding and fertilizing all of the fields, 166 acres of fields. We're currently working on completing the Mohegan Road Playground project right outside my office, and then we're still working on the irrigation systems for Boulette and Fontaine that were in last year's CIP. We've made some movement on those, but winter's tough to repair an irrigation system since you have to shut the water off. Okay, so this is just a list of all the facilities. There's 25 different sites and facilities that the rec department oversees with over 166 acres. And it's just the list of them for you to have. Again, those facilities range from basketball courts to skate parks to softball fields, basketball courts, jogging track, beaches, buildings, etc. Sidewalks and parking lots. We're plowing those in the wintertime. Who are our users? Not just the general public, but all these other groups too. All the youth groups, PAL, Norwich Youth Soccer, NFA, several of their teams, the parochial and charter schools asked to use our facilities, and then the AAU groups, the Legion baseball groups also. Here's just a list of the tasks that the crew has to do. You know, it's pretty busy getting to all those sites, picking up garbage, doing the daily maintenance, mowing, trimming, getting all the fields ready for the sport leagues, brush cutting, the vandalism. That photo there was someone this fall went to Olette and did donuts on the field. So 2 parks that happened to this fall. So now we have to, take time away from prepping fields to go fix this. So that does happen also. So what are our goals and priorities for this upcoming year? So I listed a few here, which you'll see in the budget document when you get it. Fill the administrative assistant receptionist position. It's pretty tough to do all that we do and answer the phone when every customer calls and wants to register. Preparing for this last week, I'm answering questions about our basketball league and, new people in town. It's not a 2-second conversation. It's a lot about the program, how it works, when they play, how you register, can their friends be on their team, what will their coach be? So every conversation just takes time, which we love to do. And there's a lot of new people in the community that call asking for services and programs for their children. So having a receptionist, a full-time receptionist would be great. Refilling that facility maintainer position that we lost last year would be amazing. And we lost some funding in the seasonal position too. So we'd like that back to keep the facilities in good shape. Upgrading and repairing the fields and facilities is top on the list for me. Also, adding more special events to boost the economic growth in Norwich and get more of the community out participating. Reopen Mohegan Park Beach is another goal. And adding swimming lessons. We're looking into hiring some water safety instructors so we can add lessons. It's really important that children know how to swim in a community. So we're looking to do that also. A master strategic plan is a goal. Municipal licensing for our day camp. When you get licensing for a day camp, it allows you to get funding, Care for Kids, free funding. So when your day camp, there's a municipal licensing category. When you have that, then kids can come and there's funding for them to come to your camp. So it can boost your program numbers and provide that for children. Fund our scholarship account, create a comprehensive sponsorship program, and add some special needs programming to the department. Okay, so facility-wise, I just wanted to show you a few photos of what's happening with our facilities. That first is a landscaping needs at Raymond Olette. Due to the lack of staffing for the facility crew, we're not able to paint that sign, to do the shrubbery work, to do the landscaping needs. Hamilton football, has anyone been down there? There's a lot of needs for that field. It's a dust bowl. The whole center pretty much stays dirt. So in the CIP budget, I'm proposing to put an irrigation system in there to bring that back up to play. Possibly putting some of those youth flag league and tournaments down there, or just even bringing more other events down to that facility. It's not in great shape, that facility. Hamilton baseball, you can't see this photo that well, but there's all pooling of water here, so it's a drainage issue. We need to sink the drain lower to repair that. Fitzgerald baseball, it kind of needs a complete overhaul, that facility. There's a lot of water, the buildings are outdated. I think the department has neglected that with the lack of staffing. We've had to kind of put that facility on the side burner. 25, okay. And then just some other dugout and fence repairs. You will see in the CIP the Taft-Hill basketball courts. They're pretty bad. Basketball resurfacing, that's grass growing through the center of that court. And on the left here too, more grass, really unsafe. And then Lake Street, same thing. So I put in the CIP to redo those basketball courts. Those are highly used courts in both communities. Taft-Hill, they get calls and complaints about. Ouellette Park, lots of work needed there. These fencing are all been either rotted away or are falling, so I put in the CIP to improve that. Ouellette Park, we need the playground mulch, wood chips. This is roots right under a slide. Not great, you need wood chips there. We put that in. 7 parks need the playground surfacing. This is more Fitzgerald Field needing work. Ouellette Park, I wanted to put an announcer's booth. All these big softball leagues want to come here, but we don't have an announcer's booth. We just have this little step-up stand. So a nice announcer's booth will help improve this facility and get bigger tournaments in. Here's the skate park roof. This building needs a lot of work. Just some rundown benches that we haven't had the funding to repair. The skate park has a lot of unsafe edges that I'd like to repair. Ouellette Park, the parking lot, a lot of grass and divots also there. So those are some of the facilities that need some work. And then positive trunk or treat went really well. Those are some photos of all the trunks that were out there and us having a little fun. And any questions? Fast, I know.
Since it'll be on the agenda this evening, what do you think of the disc golf proposal?
Great. Yeah, I had talked when they were coming in, talked to some of them. Yeah, we can do some programs there. We can bring the day camp there to run a youth program. I could do adult leagues, youth leagues, and then bring the kids at camp there in the summer, because we already go down to the beach. So I think it's a great course to bring to Norwich.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
First of all, we've never met before, so I'm Alderwoman Philbrook. Nice to meet you,
Me too.
albeit a little bit late. The comment that I'm going to make, please take it in, just understand that you're new to our community. We are a very poor community. We
I'm from
struggle
here.
every year with budgets. We do not have money for 3 or 4 new people in your office and all these repairs. So I would encourage you to explore other avenues. We just don't have any money. We don't have any money, and we don't, you talk about the staff. The Public Works Department right now is, their backs are to the wall. You have your own crew, and I don't know how many people are on that crew.
3.
3? Okay. And what do they do, like at this time of the year, when between lawn mowing and snow removal? What would their typical day be?
They're still prepared, working on the fields and the facilities, all these different repairs that need to happen. And they plow in the winter.
But they...
No, I understand. I know where the community's at. I'm from here. I grew up going to all these programs into NFA, and I'm aware. But there is a
I
need
just
for
want
this,
you
and
to
the
be
economic
prepared.
development part of my presentation was the piece, if you invest and you can bring in the dollars, that will help with the economic problems here. All right, thank you.
Thank you. No other questions? Oh, there is, actually.
Oh, okay.
Alderman Burnham?
I sit on the Rec Advisory Committee, and I think we all understand the budget constraints that we have. And we also understand that it's a delicate balance that you have to invest in your community. If we let these facilities continue to deteriorate as they are, it's going to cost us 2 and 3 times more than that. And then also as an attraction to bring people in, we can't just neglect everything. I understand that we might not be able to do everything that we're hoping, but this is your wish list, and to negate all of the accomplishments that your team has done in the last year, and all those activities, all of those programs that have brought people into the city, and we're just getting started. I think it should be commended, and it's bringing a new breath of fresh air to Norwich. We might not have all the money in the world, but we're a rich community in our culture and our people, and that's what I see that as an investment in. So, thank you.
Thank you.
President Pro Tem Nash.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I just want to say, awesome job, Cheryl, on the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone sits here knows I'm a strong supporter of the rec department. I have 2 children that went through it. I coached in it many, many years. I even had the opportunity to coach you in a sport, which was a lot of fun to do. So I think we have the right person in place to, even though we might not be able to get all these projects at one time, I know you'll chip away at them if we just keep giving you the support that you need. So thank you very much for your presentation tonight, and Leanne, thank you.
Alderman DeLucia.
I just wanted to congratulate you on your 1-year anniversary with the city. This is our 1-year anniversary tonight as well, so it went by very quickly, didn't it?
Yes.
I would also like to thank you, as Alderman Nash said, about the quality of the presentation, the material that's there. This presentation is an example of why I was so happy when I heard that you had come here. Yes, we do have challenges, and one of them is, in fact, money. But the community definitely benefits. The quality of life in this community benefits from what we do with these programs. And I thank you for the amount of work I know that must have taken to put all this together.
Next year will be easier. Slides. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all you've done at this point. The council will come to order. If we'd ever please rise, and it will be led opening prayer by President Pro Tem Bill Nash.
Almighty God, we ask for a blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our community. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all of our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all of our deliberations. Please give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all of our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Thank you. Alderman DeLucia, please. I need to entertain a motion, please, for the adoption of the minutes from November 5th and 19. Alderwoman Gould, second by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous, vote 7-0. Petitions, please.
Number 1, letter of resignation from Paul Gauthier from the Norwich Housing Authority.
I'd ask for a motion, please, to accept the letter of resignation from Mr. Paul Gauthier. Gould, and seconded by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Let the record reflect that we thank Mr. Gauthier for all his many, many years of service on the Norwich Housing Authority, and we wish him well. All those in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0.
Number 2, letter of resignation from Rashid Haynes from the Connecticut Municipal Electric Energy Cooperative Board of Directors.
A motion, please, to bring this forward. Again, Alderman Gould, second by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Is Alderwoman Philbrick?
It was with great sadness that I read this letter. I actually met Rashid through another lady who said that he was interested in the Board of Education, and he was such an asset to the city of Norwich. He was a gentleman that was intelligent, had no agenda, knew what he was talking about. So with Rashid going, and he would have kept an eye open at CMEC. I have no doubt about that. So I wish him the best of luck in his new location, but I really feel that, you know, we've lost a great member of the community.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Browning.
Obviously, we accept his notice of resignation. My one regret is we have not ever received a report from the ratepayer representative about what was going on at CMAQ, and assuming we appoint a new representative, it will be months before we get such a report, and I think that that's not a great situation, but I just wish to point it out that some of us recognize this and are concerned about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Knowing Rashid, as I believe I do, I'm sure that we can still receive that information for the time that he was here in that capacity. I'll see that that happens to cover that time period. And thank you for that.
Yeah, I would hope that it would be a public document we could insert
Yes.
it to.
Absolutely. The only way it should be. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous, 7-0.
City Manager's Report.
Thank you. This is the City Manager's Report for December 3rd, 2018. I attended the monthly harbor management meeting and had my monthly meeting with department heads. I attended the Opportunity Zone workshop along with numerous city and state officials, local business, and community leaders regarding the new federally funded approved tax benefit program. The program provides federal tax incentives for investors to reinvest unrealized capital gains into areas of a community. Norwich has 3 opportunity zones that are eligible in census tracts 6967, 6968, and 6970, and includes Thamesville downtown and Laurel Hill east side areas of the city. The bonding documents were signed for the $7.97 million sale, which will yield competitive interest rates based on the AA rating received from Standard & Poor's Global Ratings. 7 bids were received, with Morgan Stanley and Company submitting the winning bid with a 3.47 interest rate. The bonds will provide financing for various city projects, including the recently approved public safety equipment and radio system. The city benefited from a favorable bond market environment, which will help keep the taxpayers' impact as low as possible. The settlement date for the sale is December 6th. The first rounds of interviews for the fire chief position were held on Friday, November 30th. 7 candidates were interviewed, and I anticipate meeting with the finalists in the next 2 weeks or so. The city has received its 3-year redesignation as a heart-safe community from the Community Department of Public Health. My assistant is in the process of scheduling a council workshop as an update to the strategic planning session that was held last year with Jim O'Shea from Achievement Unlimited of Connecticut. The tentative date is February 9th, 2019. That's a Saturday. February 9th is a Saturday. Holiday activities have begun. The Norwich Winterfest Parade was held on Saturday, September 1st, and was enjoyed by many who filled the downtown streets. The Norwich Youth Action Council and Norwich Youth Family Services will hold a free family night for children in grades 1 through 4 at the Rose City Senior Center on December 6th. The 27th Light Up City Hall will take place on Friday, December 7th, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., followed by First Friday events and the Tommy Toy Fun Run. Thank you to those who volunteer their time and those who donate to make these events a continued success and tradition. Light Up City Hall will include a live radio broadcast, children's activities, and photos with Santa. Cat's Meow ornaments will also be sold at the event, one of City Hall and the other of Leffingwell Museum, for $10. They will be available for sale at the city clerk's office, Backers Hospital gift shop, and the Leffingwell House Museum. I've attached for your review the Treasurer's Report from Mike Gualtieri for the quarter ending September 30th, 2018 for your review. And that completes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Are there questions of the city manager? Alderman Nash.
So can you give me an update quickly on the bond package with the fire trucks, where we stand with that at the moment?
We are waiting from one department to finish up their review of the bid. Once that is done, then we will see what the amount of funding is in place, and then if we have to go back and make some adjustments downward, because right now, unless the fifth one comes in lower than estimated, we're slightly over the budget for the year, for the bond issue.
Thank you, sir.
Are there further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yeah?
before we go into citizens' comment on resolutions, I'd like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. To my colleagues on the council, I've placed on your desks each a small piece of paper describing the School Facilities Review Committee survey that went live this week. The link is there to the community. I would like to ask you all to take a look at the survey and complete it. This is the survey that we are using to determine what the community wants and feels we need in the school system in terms of its facilities. The website link is available through the City of Norwich website and on the Norwich Public Schools website. And again, I encourage each and every member of this community to complete the survey. Your input is needed very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Citizen comment on resolutions.
Okay, we're going to begin citizen comment. I have 3 people signed up, and we'll start with Marvin Ceruto.
Marvin Cerruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. On resolution number 2, last year we did have a short synopsis on the budget from the Gulf Authority, and that would be much appreciated. It is $1 million, and it would be nice to have a short synopsis on that budget. As for Resolution 3, of course, I'm always in favor of any community festival here. Resolutions 4 and 5, accepting deeds instead of lieu of foreclosure. If you could explain the advantages to that and also future plans for property that we gain. I hear a lot of people, they always want me to ask, are we in the real estate business? That's a message from people that I speak with. And number 7, relative to establishing a committee, I'm totally in favor of establishing a committee. However, the language in that appears as though we've already approved the park. And I thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Roberta Clapper.
Roberta Clapper, 49 Butternut Drive. I have a letter from Senator Austin that was addressed to Mrs. Hazel Brown of Butternut Drive in support of leaving Mohegan Park in the most natural state as possible, for her support. You can have those copies. I'd like to give them to you. As far as my comments, I'm in opposition to the proposed Frisbee golf course on Wilderness Road. I returned recently from a 4,000-mile, 14-day trip across the country. Scenery was beautiful in many places as we drove to our destination. However, a realization came to mind. I saw so much destruction of our natural resources, I couldn't help but think about the proposed plan in Mohegan Park for the golf course. We should be aware of how rapidly our country's pristine landscapes are disappearing. Mohegan Park is mostly an unspoiled asset. Do we really want a section of our heritage destroyed by a parking lot and a porta potty for a passing fad? Firstly, Wilderness Road is not the place for this project. The lower road is more accessible and relatively free of obstacles and may possibly be used more and does not need additional parking. Those 300-plus acres are sacred and need to be allowed to remain raw and natural. If there is an improvement to be made, how about repairing and marking the existing trails so that people can experience nature untouched by plastic, metal, and chains? We all need the peace and serenity a forest can provide. Please leave the Wilderness Road alone so Mother Nature can have a chance to repair herself. Before we desecrate Mohegan Park with this plan, let's have a reputable survey to gauge the public demand. And once again, we see a small group presumes to make this crucial decision about the park in a hurry with minimal input. Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck Evans, please.
Good evening, everybody. Chuck Evans, 49 Butternut Drive. I am also here in opposition to the placement of a Frisbee golf course on the Wilderness Road site. I do so for several reasons. First, a safety concern. In a study by the Orthopedic Journal of Sports Medicine dated June 25, 2015, injuries related to this sport were proven to be commonplace. Is Norwich willing to accept the proven risk as well as the liability of the sport, especially in such a stump-filled and rock-laden area? This planned development area in such a remote section of the park would be a draw for negative behaviors and problems which currently plague the city of Norwich. Will this remote spot be gated? Will it be patrolled on a regular basis? Do they really need another secluded spot where overdoses can occur and having it be very difficult for emergency personnel to respond to? Will there be porta potties on the site which will be maintained regularly, or is the entire area to be considered a restroom? There are currently 42 disc golf courses within a 50-mile radius of Norwich. Please see Disc Golf Unlimited website for locations and mileage. Do we really need number 43? With a closer review of the website, one will find most of the designated courses are underutilized. To allude to the possibility of this Frisbee golf course even increasing business revenue in Norwich a slight bit is an absolute absurdity. Has there been any research done as far as public sentiment, comparative studies, or public opinion? The answer is no. There are 42 courses in a 50-mile radius for our Rose City Frisbee golf enthusiasts, or if one finds it a hardship to drive to those couple miles or so, maybe one could pitch his Frisbee or disc at a garbage can in the backyard. The size is approximate to that of the goal. In the last town council meeting with the public comment, there were several actual citizens who spoke against the proposed Frisbee golf park. There were also several persons who spoke for the Frisbee golf park, most of whom spoke in favor are on the Mohegan Park Oversight Committee, which is the very committee proposing this ideal. So will this council stand up for the wishes of the people and seek further research and input, or will they just allow their personally hand-selected committee members to control the resources and force their will wrongfully on the taxpayer property again, as done with Chelsea Gardens? Mohegan Park deserves better than that, and so do the taxpayers of Norwich. This public property and the public feedback you have received so far has been negative for this project. Do you, as a council member, take your positions to represent your constituents or your hand-chosen committees? Due diligence on this matter should be mandatory, yet to this point, it has not even been a consideration. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to address the council under citizen comment? Yes, sir, please.
Good evening. My name is Tim Sullivan. I live on 53 High Meadows Lane in Norwich. I'm not on anybody's committee. I'm here tonight to speak in support of the Frisbee golf course. I don't play Frisbee golf. I don't even play traditional golf. But I have witnessed the Frisbee golf game, and I have walked several Frisbee golf courses. I think there's going to be very little environmental impact of the Frisbee golf course in Mohegan Park. I think Frisbee golf would be a positive expansion of Mohegan Park. I think that if issues arise because of the Frisbee golf that cannot be easily solved, I think terminating the golf course and returning the land back to its original state would be easily and quickly accomplished. I think it's time to allow expansion and additional low-impact recreation to our Mohegan Park. So I am all in favor of the Frisbee golf course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak under citizen comment? Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Beryl Fishbone, 19 Bliss Place, and I chair the Mohegan Park Committee. Disc golf is a sport invented in the 1970s, and I'm not going to talk about the rules of playing the game, but about the benefits of disc golf. For parks, it provides quality recreational opportunity. It's inexpensive to install and does not require expensive or extensive equipment to play. Poles can be anchored into the earth, and some pole holes can be anchored into above-ground concrete forms to avoid digging into sensitive areas where land disturbance needs to be kept at a minimum. A well-designed course is environmentally friendly, uses areas' existing topography, and the more varied terrain, the better. Trees, bushes, hills, and even wet areas offer more challenges and obstacles. There is no clear-cutting, no land grading, no fertilizing, no mowing needed. It also keeps extra eyes in areas being watched for invasive plants and insects. A well-designed course will not be installed near homes, pathways, trails, roads, or playgrounds. It's usual for a minimum distance of about tee and target of about 45 feet. Throwing distances are planned, so stray throws cause as minimal damage as possible. Positive use of an area will displace negative use. Vandalism in an area may be reduced because of the increase in traffic. A course attracts new users to the park and makes use of land unsuitable for other things. The game attracts players, it's good for all ages, it's an outdoor activity with physical benefits, helping to build body alignment and balance. 9 holes is about half a mile and burns 400 to 600 calories, mostly through walking. The course's natural settings force players to work around nature rather than just look at it like they do on a walk or a hike. This is an opportunity. It's just not good for a community to continually be telling residents and new potential residents that they need to go out of town for work, shopping, and recreation. This is an opportunity to support our community in a positive and sustainable way without cost to the city. I'd also like to just reply to my friends here who said, oh, well, we could mark the trails. Every spring on Earth Day, we go through and we remark all of the trails. The red, green, yellow, you can see the paint on the trees. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the council? Yes, please, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Joshua Perry. I live at 29 Huntington Place here in Norwich. I just wanted to throw my support towards the disc golf. We've heard a few things. I wanted to show you my disc golf bag, and in case you have any questions, just a simple Frisbee. Some people bring one. Like Merrill the other day, I bring 20 when I go. I just want to reiterate, this is almost a free thing we're giving to the children. Disc golf reverberates with your lovely presentation about the rec department because you're just mowing the lawn. That's how it's maintained. You mow the lawn. It's dirty there. We're just providing something to do. It's a great idea. It's low impact. It is, economic. It's free to add to the park. One thing that you said that really touched me was a successful park, a successful summer is lots of smiling faces, and that's what you want. You want more people in the park. It's not less. I mean, I want to bring people to the park to enjoy this. Not only the fact that I want it in my own town, but it's a great thing. I play, I travel. I don't go anywhere without knowing where the local disc golf course is. And these are always in my car. They're always in my bag. A lot of these guys, I know I'm going to see them out there playing within a year or two, because it's how it goes. I mean, it's odd to not know about it, and when you see it, it's a great idea. It's great fun. I've been with my children, old relatives, everybody plays it. It's fun. You'll be out there. But I appreciate you guys letting me talk about this, and I think it's a great idea, and I really appreciate what you said. I haven't met you yet, but I think I might have to. You have to move on this. But thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone further? Speak under citizen comment. Anyone under citizen comment further? Yes, Mr. Kraft.
Good evening, David Crabb, 47 Prospect Street. I'll speak to resolutions 5, 4, and 2. And before that, I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah. Unlike JFK's eternal flame that uses a gas pipe, this Old Testament miracle describes the temple menorah having just enough oil for a single candle. Yet a miracle celebrated by millions of Judeo-Christians today provided the oil that is again celebrated this week. Now to the agenda. I grouped these resolutions for the Norwich Golf Course with the 2 for tax foreclosures that are being considered another addition to the council's portfolio that is kept in secret. We know nothing about the size of the council portfolio of foreclosures. How much revenue did these 2 foreclosures use to provide the city, and what was owed when the city foreclosed? Just like the interest on council bonds, taxpayers have to make up the lost revenue. The Norwich Golf Course budget has a surplus that should be captured. Undoubtedly, an early visionary spoke to this situation when they proposed the Norwich Golf Course to help the city. This $8,000 surplus could provide a council-blessed soiree that we've seen in the past, not too long ago to add. Otherwise, my two-page handout was copied from a 10-year-old Accuracy in Media, a report about George W. Bush hosting a G20 financial secret that just ended this weekend. That was during his last term. Nothing changes, and chances for a miracle seem slim today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else under citizen comment? Anyone else under citizen comment? Third and final time. Anyone else under citizen comment? Seeing no one else, I declare it closed, and I thank everyone for sharing their ideas and concerns.
Resolution 1, relative to an appointment to the Norwich Housing Authority.
Motion, please, to bring it forward. President Pro Tem Nash, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. 7-0 is the count.
Number 2, relative to approval of the budget for the Norwich Golf Course Authority.
Again, motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderwoman Gould.
We have, I know there's a lot of gentlemen here from the Golf Course Authority. You're not asking us for any more money. You're just showing.
Could someone please approach the dais and for the record, name, address, please?
Good evening. My name is Charles Woody. I'm here this evening to speak in favor of Resolution 2. And answer your question, no, in fact, we're asking for approval to spend $60,000 less next year than we spent this year. It's a reduction in amount, not an increase in amount.
Thank you.
Yes, Alderman Delucia.
Just to be clear, it is my understanding that the budget as it's been presented to us and this resolution is merely to allow the Golf Course Authority to execute its budget because it is, and that is required under the formation of the Golf Course Authority because their budget exceeds $100,000. So again, it's my understanding that this is not an ask for $1 million from the community. It is merely asking for permission to execute their $1 million budget for the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Resolution 2. It's unanimous. Measure 7-0 passes.
Number 3, relative to granting permission to use Franklin Street to host a community festival.
Motion, bring it forward, please. President Pro Tem Nash, is there a second? Alderwoman Gould, is there a discussion? Yes.
I just want to comment real quickly on the Global City Norwich. I hope people have had an opportunity to come down to Franklin Street. They've been putting on some amazing festivals for our city, and that organization down there has been a real plus and benefit to our community. So please come down. Hopefully this will get approved tonight. I'm going to be in favor of it, but come down and partake in these festivals. People always say how, and one of the things, you know, we all say we need to be our own ambassadors, and but I'm out all the time talking about how great this city is, and despite so many negative comments made from so many people that I deal with, but I tell you, I love this community, and it's of activities like this that we wanted. We're doing it, this Global City Norwich initiative. She's really working hard down there. That organization is really busting their butt to get activities for us to come to. So please, the only way these activities survive is if we attend them. And again, I'm not always, I always try to support us and try to get people to come into our community, but if the people in our community don't go to these events, we're not going to get people from other communities. So we need to get the people down there. I was unfortunate and unable to make the parade this week because of work, but I heard it was really well attended. A friend of mine who I work with brought his kids to the run and stayed for the parade and had a great time. And they had actual lunch at one of the local restaurants here in Norwich. So please support this activities once they approve them and get them down there. Come to them, show support, and that's the only way we'll keep them going. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there further questions, comment? Yes, Alderman Browning.
Is there anyone here in connection with this who I could ask a simple question to?
Be happy to give it a shot.
Okay. I'm going to end up voting for this anyway. I'm just curious, since we're always doing this on Franklin Street and there are other downtown businesses in the area, if we've given consideration to occasionally moving it off Franklin Street to other streets in downtown Norwich, given that it's a Saturday, kind of spreading the business around.
That is a comment that comes up in general discussions. Currently, since this program somewhat began in infancy a few months ago, it was decided on this site purely due to traffic management and public safety. But your concern is regularly discussed among all parties. And when that opportunity presents itself, I'm sure it will be further considered. I can tell you that Chelsea Groton Savings Bank has recently just approved a second year of full funding for the program, so it is going to continue. And that represents another $100,000 grant to the city of Norwich to run these operations. But I don't want it to be forgotten. This isn't just about having events downtown. Part of the mission of this program is to also help to open more storefronts downtown and to grow business. That's the other purpose of this whole program. It's bringing the people sometimes, in some cases before that other business would draw them there, but when you look at market analysis, sometimes that's what you choose to do. It was done in Westerly, Rhode Island, very successfully previously. The bank president that we now are lucky to have in our community was vice president of the Washington Trust Bank then and was very involved at that time. But their commitment continues. And thank you. I'll make sure that that is considered further. Thank you. Is there further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. 7-0.
Number 4, relative to accepting a deed in lieu of foreclosure for 70 Lambert Drive.
Motion, please, bring it forward. Pro Tem Nash, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderman Philbrick.
I think a point was raised by one of the members of the audience. Does Norwich intend to continue to be in the real estate business? Because quite frankly, we don't do a very good job, in my opinion. We keep acquiring these pieces of property, and then we're responsible for them. Some of them look okay. Some of them look like pure crap. That's the only way to describe it. I'm a firm believer, don't take on a project unless you have a plan to fix it. So these two people are we're going to lose the tax revenue and we're going to gain the property. What is our plan? What is the plan to do with these properties? And I think it would be a good idea at some point in time, and I know Public Works has done an excellent job with this, a listing of all the, let's just go with the residential properties right now that are owned by the city of Norwich. I think that you would be surprised.
If I may refer that question to Alderwoman Gould on your behalf.
Well, as the chair of the Public Works Department, through a large committee of city officials, planning department, building department, assessor's office, tax collector, finance, public works, public utilities, the properties, the first round has already been completed. The second round is coming up, where we have taken a look at all of the properties that the city owns, whether it's vacant land, single-family home, a duplex, and has made decisions about what to do with them, whether to hold on to them for future development possibilities, whether to turn a single-family home over to a real estate agent for sale, whether or not to have the Dangerous Buildings Board of Review put a committee together to convey the building to a developer. That is done. We just finished a large round of those properties. We're waiting for the second round to come up. I would suspect that these two properties will be added to the list, and hopefully we can market these properties and continue to move them from the city side of the ledger to the taxpaying side of the ledger. But I can't tell you right now what the plan is for this particular lot on Lambert Drive. It might go to an abutters auction, which we have. Carlene Deal, our tax collector, puts together those properties that we've decided could go to an abutters auction and contacts the abutters to see if there's interested in the property. Perhaps in the spring, we'll have maybe a larger auction on some of the other challenging properties. Homestead properties is something that we're working on with Kathy Creasy, Community Development. So we have lots of options. I think the Public Works Department does an excellent job doing their due diligence to maintain the properties that the city owns. And Brittany Williams, who is our blight officer, is doing a fantastic job getting after landlords for properties that don't look as appealing as we would like them to be.
Alderwoman Philbrick, do you have any other questions?
No, I just would
Okay.
like to see us not be in the real estate business.
That's the last thing I want.
Agreed. Thank you. Our actions tonight clear the title of who holds the property, allows us then to dispose of it. And if I may, refer to our corporate counsel.
Just so everybody understands, this is a situation where the tax collector was approached by the owners of the property who have no interest in it at this stage, have not paid the taxes for some period of time. It's a $2,900 assessed property, and the taxes are about $1,600. In order to take property by a deed in lieu of foreclosure, there have to be no other encumbrances on the property. Otherwise, you have to go through the foreclosure process. So the city has a choice here or three choices. One, of doing nothing, and the taxes will continue to get larger. 18% will run on these. Presumably, the taxes won't be paid going forward. The second thing would be to foreclose the property if we don't do this, in which case the city will incur the cost of foreclosure, which isn't going to increase the value of this property at all. This property is in an R40 zone, meaning 40,000 square feet per building lot. The subdivision is an old one and may predate that. The lot itself, if you look at it, it's about 55 by 115, so it's about 6,000 square feet. So it's, 1/5, 1/4, 1/6 rather. Well, I'm sorry, 1/7, I'll do my math, of the size that it should be. But in the last 20 years, water and sewer has been added in that area. So if it qualifies as a lot under the zoning that existed at the time that the subdivision was created, and it has water and sewer, it might be considered a building lot. Otherwise, it's just a very small lot with nothing on it that would have value possibly to one of the two abutters who immediately abut this. But the question is, the parties have approached the city and said, right now we don't have any other encumbrances on the property. We're willing to convey it to the city in lieu of the city's foreclosing it. So that's kind of the position we presented. I don't think the city wanted to own this property, but.
All right, thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Resolution 4-7-0.
Number 5, relative to accepting a deed in lieu of foreclosure for 51 Gifford Street.
Motion to bring it forward, please. Pro Tem Nash, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Vote is 7-0.
Number 6, relative to authorizing city manager to sign an agreement for Route 82 at New London Turnpike.
Motion, please, to bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second by Pro Tem Nash. Is there discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Again, 7-0 is the count.
Number 7, relative to establishing a committee and to support and approve the installation of a 9-hole disc golf course.
Motion to bring it forward, please. Alderman Gould, second. Alderman Browning.
Yes.
Okay. Is there discussion? Alderman Browning.
I'd like to call Ryan Thompson forward just to address a couple questions that have come up. I understand that there's been some concern about people parking on Wilderness Road directly on the side of the road, some theories that it would block the road, be dangerous. You've evaluated what it would entail putting in a gravel parking lot. Can you tell us a little bit about that, whether any trees would have to be cut down, what the price would be, et cetera?
Yeah, sure. So nothing is obviously decided, but conceptually I've identified 2 possible locations. One is more preferable, and it's at the top end of the Wilderness Road site. It would be a gravel lot, 10 to 15 cars max. It wouldn't require any clearing. It wouldn't require any significant earthwork. Just some clearing and preparation of the ground. So talking about a maximum depth of about 8 inches of soil disturbance. The cost would be less than $10,000, and it would be off the road. It would be, I don't know what else to say. It'd be a pretty minimal lot. It would be basically just enough to accommodate some people parking off the road so they could.
How many meters roughly from Butternut Drive?
From Butternut? I'm not sure I'm prepared to answer that question. Whatever the distance is from that point at Wilderness to Butternut, I mean, minus 50 feet max. So.
Okay. But it would be along the boundaries of Wilderness Road. It would not be deeper into.
It would be off of Wilderness. It wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be anywhere close to Butternut.
Okay.
Kind of the complete opposite side of the field.
Okay.
Alderman DeLucia.
Just to clarify, so this parking lot, you just said it, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly. It literally would be on the opposite end of the cleared site from Butternut Drive.
It would be, so if you come up John Edwards.
Yes.
And you take a right on Wilderness.
Yes.
That entrance that went into where they had cleared the area, that's the site that I'm thinking about, the preferable place for that. That's one option. The other option would be down at the end at the bend where you have the little, like little island. Mm-hmm. I don't like that one as much for several reasons, but either of those would be, I mean, again, they are up for debate. I think that there's a little more work that needs to be done at the one that's down lower, whereas the one that's up high is a much less intrusive site.
And with a gravel lot of this type, we wouldn't be worried. We wouldn't be dealing with major earthworks or catch basins. Essentially, rainwater would percolate through. Right? We wouldn't be doing a major.
We wouldn't be adding any impervious area at all.
Yeah. Or any drainage or.
No, it would be just graded to drain with the natural land.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there further questions? Yes, Alderman Gould.
How much illegal activity are you aware of that takes place in Mohegan Park?
I mean, I don't know of any firsthand. I've only heard others talk about it. So, I mean.
So on a daily basis, Public Works isn't going up to Mohegan Park to spray paint graffiti off of buildings or clean up illegal dumping or assisting American Ambulance with people who have decided that the park is a great place to overdose or anything like that, on a routine, regular basis?
No.
Thank you.
All set? Yeah. Alderman Burnham?
I don't have anything for you.
Oh.
I don't know if you want to hang out there, but I want to let
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. The citizens that have concerns about this, I think that, thank you for bringing them up, and I think I understand where they're coming from. There's been, with Chelsea Gardens, there's been a lot of bad faith, and I recognize that. I do really think that this is a totally different effort that you can't compare. This is a low-impact activity on the environment and the body. It will allow people to enjoy the park that they haven't been able to in the past. It's low impact on the Public Works Department. We can bring new activities to them, to the new course. And I think some people might be thinking of Ultimate Frisbee too, and there is a distinction. Ultimate Frisbee is kind of like Frisbee soccer, like it's, you know, more impact, it's higher speed. This is more like golf, leisurely. There aren't huge projectiles. I think it's something worth exploring, and I spoke to the people who are helming this effort, and I suggested that we maybe have a proof of concept activity to show what it might look like for the people that are skeptical. So invite everybody to come out and play a round of Frisbee golf, and I don't think we can do that. But so I think it's worth rewarding creativity, looking for new solutions, looking for ways to keep people in Norwich, to enjoy Norwich. I don't really want to drive people out of this town, especially with something that is low cost, low impact on the environment, and that will work with the area to reclaim nature, allow nature to take its course and people enjoy it and kind of see it be reclaimed over the years, and I think that's a really interesting activity. So, but I understand the citizen concern. I really, really do. So thank you for it.
Thank you. Alderman Brown, second time.
To a certain extent, I think this project's also paying for the activities, which I won't go take a trip down memory lane about the previous organization that clear-cut that property. I think I've been fairly vocal over the years in what I thought about it. But this is something where, to raise funds to get this project moving, we needed the approval of the council. So we were in this situation where the resolution comes up, and we needed the council to say, okay, we approve this, and we're giving you permission to go forward. The alternative is we could never start the fundraising, never start the advanced planning that was needed to get this done. And I think that this is worthy of a try. I think that we can keep whatever activities that are not, the most photogenic in the world, like the parking lot, really on the edge of this development, very 20 feet, say, 50 feet from the side of Wilderness. And I think the rest of it is you're going to just see some T markers, and you're going to see some buckets, and that's going to be for the Frisbees, and that's going to be it. And I'm willing to support this, and I know that there's some people who are very passionately against this. But the other sites we looked at in the park, for example, there was another site which we would have had to set the buckets up in a way that it crisscrossed a walking trail. And while that wasn't going to kill anyone, if you have someone walking through when people are throwing Frisbees and someone gets boinked, you have an issue there. Certainly it would kind of interfere with both groups of people enjoying the property at the same time. And so I will be voting for this.
Thank you. Is there further questions or comment? Pro Tem Nash.
I'm not opposed to the Frisbee golf in sense, I don't know anything about the sport, and I don't really partake in throwing Frisbees around too much because I just don't. So I'm not against the activity itself. My concern is the location, and I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges with the last project that was in there. Obviously, this is going to be much lower impact to the area, but I do have concerns that this resolution says we've approved it, and I don't know at any time where I ever sat and said I approve of this location. So I have no problem with the committee being formed and evaluating the benefits to the community, benefits to that area. You did mention there were other areas. Are there other areas? I was not, none of this was said to us. So my concern is, will there be security needed? Is there going to be administration costs? Is there planning involved? Who's going to run these activities? Who's going to supervise the activities? Who's going to make sure there's cleanup afterwards? And there, you say there's no environmental impact. There is environmental impact when you got a bunch of people running through, throwing objects around. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad sport. I'm not even arguing that point. I think it's anything that brings people into our community, and especially an adult activity, I think it's great. I'm not too concerned about the number of Frisbee golf courses around. I coach football. There's football fields pretty much in every city, and youth football fields in every city. So, we could always tell the Norwich youth to go play in Montville, but, we don't want to do that either. So if we want to start a league in our city, we want them to play in our city. It's the same with the flag football. But I'm just concerned that this particular location at the moment, has it had an opportunity to recover from the last project we put in there? So my concerns, again, I'm not against the sport, so please don't get that wrong. I think the activity would be positive to our community. So that's my only questions, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comment? Alderwoman Philbrick.
As I said to Peter at the beginning of the meeting, the ink is barely dry on the death certificate for Chelsea Botanical Gardens, and already we're trying to resurrect something in its place. I know I sit up here and I have an entirely different mindset than the rest of the council. Some of you appreciate it, some of you don't appreciate it. I am what I am, and I say what I think I need to say. A lot of these projects have merit, but they have no plan. They have no plan. I'll cite for you the bell outside. I sat right over there years ago when the man came from the Bell Company. Ryan was here. They sold us a bill of goods. I asked the specific question, what will the cost to the city of Norwich be? Won't cost you a penny. Won't cost you a penny. I think the final bill, when all was said and done, was about $250,000. Now, you as the voters make the decision who you want to sit up here and represent you. You as the taxpayers are the ones who foot the bill. So when I look at something, I will never use a Frisbee disc course. I know where Wickham Park is. It's half an hour down the road. I do not honestly believe that this is going to be an economic driver for the city of Norwich. People are not going to come to Norwich to play disc Frisbee. There wasn't even anything on the city's website for the Winterfest parade. I applaud those of you that have vision, but I'm a realist, and I can no longer afford to endorse or support these projects. That piece of land is hilly and rocky, and you're going to run and you're going to trip and you're going to break your ankle, or you're going to get a concussion, or somebody's going to come around and park. And Ryan has already said there's a cost involved to install the parking lot. A committee maybe, yes, but this cannot just be another one of those, sounds like a great idea, let's do it, and then 5 years down the road, it'll be like, oh dear, how did we get ourselves into this mess again? So I will not be supporting it based upon the location and my feeling that I don't feel as though there's enough information. And we did not give our approval We had a lovely presentation, and that was the end of the discussion. So in full transparency, you got to give the voters and the taxpayers all the information so that they can make the best decision, and the same is true with the council. So if it's meant to be, it'll be, and if it's not,
If I may comment, and then I'll get back to anyone else who has further comments. The reason the language is in the resolution that talks about the council giving approval is I noticed during agenda setting that it was absent. It wasn't in the resolution at all. We were setting up an account and a committee for an item we had not approved. And I thought if we're going to discuss the issue, let's just do it right up front, in front of the public, and give a vote up or down, not only on the committee or the account, but also whether we approve the project or not, because I think that that's just the right way to approach it. So when the resolution was discussed in agenda setting, I asked that language be included, that the council is approving the project, just so that it's very clear to the general public. Because without that language, someone would correctly raise the issue that, well, we never approved the project in the first place, but here we are creating a committee, and we're creating a committee that can raise funds. That didn't make any sense to me. So I asked that the language be included. That's why that language is there. And I'll acknowledge other members of council now, and I'll reserve the rest of my comments for the end. Alderwoman Brenham?
Yeah, I just want to make the point that this is very different than the Bell situation. These are people, these are our citizens that were appointed to a committee that is accountable to us. So I think it's a little bit different than the Bell situation, and they are raising their own funds for this. And I think if something goes in a direction that we don't feel is appropriate, we can rein that in. That is our authority as oversight to these committees. And then last council meeting, we had a very comprehensive presentation that outlined Pro Tem Nash a lot of your concerns. I think that they preemptively addressed a lot of those. But I think, Ryan, did you have any more comments? Oh, okay. Sorry. Come on up. Come on down.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to address one thing. And basically, Mayor, you hit the nail on the head. And it's probably going to be a little bit, well, it'll sound a little bit odd, but the reality is that in the simple purview of my job and with the rec department, I can go in with full authority of the position that I hold and put those baskets in, and I could put the tees in, and I could use, funding that I have in my budget to do so. I actually don't need council approval to do this project per se. And I know that sounds odd, but it's true. The reason why council needs to approve it and there needs to be a committee is because I refuse to put a single part of my budget to this project and have told that to the Mohegan Park Advisory Committee that I'm not going to fund it. I will support it because I do think it has merit, but the Public Works is not going to incur the cost. So that's why it's up here in front of the council now and that you're discussing it, because I'm not going to fund it. I'm not going to use Public Works budget to do it. I could do all of the tasks associated with the project without the council necessarily approving. Obviously, I would definitely keep you aware because that's who I am, but I can do these tasks because they're in the day-to-day operations of managing the park. That being said, because I'm not using my budget to do it, and there is a fundraising way to do it and a fundraising method, it has to be approved by the council to create that account. I want to make sure that's clear because there's two pieces. It's not coming out of my budget. I also wasn't part of the Bell. I wasn't with the city then, but it's not coming out of my budget, and the actual construction of it, it's a call before you dig, it's a hole, it's a putting in a post and going on to the next one. I don't need council approval to be able to do that. So I hope that kind of helps answer some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions or concerns? Alderwoman Gould, second time.
With all due respect to Alderman Philbrick, I'd rather have people coming to Mohegan Park than driving out of town to go to Wickham Park. If they come to Mohican Park, maybe on their way here or their way out of town, they buy lunch, they buy dinner, they stop for groceries, they buy gas, they eat at McDonald's, go to Dunkin' Donuts, something, and they spend some money in our town. And the resolution also states, now, the Director of Public Works just said he wanted to put this in because he thought it was a good idea. He has the full right and authority to do so. But because the committee is trying to raise the funds for this disc golf, that's why we have this resolution before us. So it's my understanding that if it's $20,000 to complete this project from day one to the day before we open, and the committee only raises $5,000, that this project may not even move forward. But it also says that all decisions as to the location, installation, and maintenance of this course will be made by the Director of Public Works. I've been sitting up here saying, how do I think this is I was worried about it. Some of my fears have been alleviated now that we're going to be creating a parking area and we're not going to be parking people on Wilderness Road. I've done my due diligence with corporate counsel about our liability issues. We are not opening up ourselves to a can of worms with more liability issues. It's no different if you were in the park and you were running up the hill because you were chasing after your child and you tripped and fell, that we are any more liable for this project, for somebody tripping over a rock playing Frisbee golf than tripping over a rock when they're walking on a trail. We have no more liability today than we will a year from now. Getting people to come to our city, whether it's 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, maybe I'm sorry that Cheryl Hansen, our rec department director, isn't here, because maybe we could have asked her, how many people have called up and said, hey, do you have a Frisbee golf? We want to play Frisbee golf. You know what, if you get people outside doing some activities, it's not going to go on at night. I don't believe that all of a sudden every heroin addict in the city of Norwich is going to decide that the Frisbee golf course is the place to do it. I don't believe that, Mr. Evans.
No, that's not how the meetings are run. Thank you very much, though.
I think the more people we get in the park, the better off we are. And maybe they're going to come back the week later. Maybe they're not going to play Frisbee golf, but maybe they're going to go to the beach, or maybe they're going to take a walk. Whatever. More people coming to Norwich, the more things we offer, the people who live here or the people who we want to move here, the better off I think we are. And if the project fails, well, then we tried, we didn't make it. No harm, no foul. We're not disturbing anything. We're not moving anything. The trees will grow up, and it'll be good for the park to have more activities in it. That's what the park is for, passive recreation. We're not snowmobiling, we're not horseback riding, we're playing a little golf, getting a little exercise, a little fresh air. Good for everybody, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further comment? Do I dare ask? Okay, my 2 cents. I would love to see this project succeed. I personally don't think this is the right place for it. It is just not. I gave a commitment 3 years ago when I was asked about Chelsea Gardens, and I'm not here to demean anyone who tried to get Chelsea Gardens to be a reality, because those were volunteers and they worked their tail off for the city's benefit. But I said then 3 years, and if nothing had further moved along, I would withdraw my support. Well, they took that on their own, and 2 years into that 3-year time period, they approached me, actually right after we were sworn in a year ago, and said that they were closing their doors, folding up their tent. And so we then worked and negotiated the return of that land to the full control of the city and the end of Chelsea Gardens' proposed project. This land was clear-cut. It's going to continue to regrow. I think it's a wonderful outdoor classroom for classrooms, and I'm hoping that our students find their way up there, and they get to see that. My questions, concerns are, if this is as successful as it may be, what do we do 5 years down the road when people want us to start cutting things that are now blocking the path of the targets and so forth. What do we do when they want us to remove some of the stone? If you look at the courses around this 40-mile radius of our city that people refer to, this isn't the land they placed them. They placed them on cleared land. It's rather smooth. It looks like a golf course. Now, one may say this will become more of a challenging course because of the obstacles that are provided through nature. I just think this is the wrong time, the wrong place. I'm not interested in seeing my Public Works Department stretched any thinner. I'm not. They have taken more hits in budget times over the last few years than any other department on the city side of the ledger. And to add more potential future responsibility to them, I think is wrong at this time. Again, it's timing. I'd love to see a program like this. I just think this is the wrong place for it. I wish those who support this and those who will vote for it well, wish you success, but I will not be one of those voting for it. Is there further comment? I don't think so. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion carries 4-3 and is passed.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a question for council. I'm not aware of any impending activity that this council should or must address within the next 2 weeks. So the question I put to the body is, do you wish to conduct the business on the 17th, or would you consider supporting a motion to cancel the meeting on the 17th? Alderman Burnham?
That would be typically what we call open mic night.
I understand.
Could we
That's
move
why
that to
I'm
the
inviting comment.
Yeah, could we move open mic night to the first meeting in January? Have two open mic nights to account for that?
No, that's not allowed for in the rules. Generally, let me ask, please.
You could suspend the rules for that purpose, basically.
Through suspension of our rules, we could still provide that opportunity.
I would second that request.
What'd you say?
I said I would second that request.
Okay, because I don't want, I want
No, I
the
understood.
public there.
Fair question, yes. Is there further questions? Seeing none. All right, then I would entertain a motion to cancel the December 17th meeting of the council. Is there a motion? Alderman Burnham, is there a second? Alderman Nash. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Again. Opposed? Just for clarity's sake, I believe the motion was 4-3, but I'm going to ask one more time. High in the sky, please. Those in favor of the motion
To not have a meeting.
to not have a meeting on the 17th?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, those opposed to the motion? Okay, then the motion carries 4-3. Understanding the councilman's request that open discussion be carried forward.
Do you want to move to suspend the night to vote on that, because otherwise you're going to be at that meeting?
Okay. All right. I would ask us to click this right. I'd ask for a motion for us to suspend our rules so that on the first meeting in January, we do in fact indeed hold open mic, a half-hour opportunity for people to come and comment on any discussion.
Can you do that now?
We're making the motion now because once if we come into the meeting that night,
It should be on the agenda.
He's talking to you.
Let me interject though before you do. Under the rules, the mayor makes his report on the state of the city at the first meeting in January.
Which takes time.
So that in and of itself is a fairly lengthy process. So that if you're going to move it to that night,
start early.
You may either want to start early or you want to move, have the mayor's presentation first, then you can have public comments on those things not on the agenda that night or something like that, if you're going to make an adjustment of that sort.
We're seeking to accommodate all.
I mean, you already voted, so, yeah.
Well, we voted on the motion to cancel, but I'm asking for a motion to suspend our rules to schedule the open mic for the first meeting in December, with everyone having the understanding that we have some extra activities. And we'll alert the public as to when that time will be and so forth. Is that in agreement with everyone?
I make the motion
Nash,
that we
seconded by Gould. Is there further discussion or question? Our point here is to accommodate everyone's concern that has been expressed here on the council. Seeing no further comment. All those in favor of that motion, suspension? Okay. Now we need a motion to schedule, yeah. Now we need a follow-up motion to schedule open mic night on our calendar for the agenda of the first meeting in January. Motion, please. Gould, second by Nash. All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second? Browning? All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.